Welcome.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Hi. It's been like a week since last week since I did it. Um, Welcome back. It's been a while since I've had this guest on my channel, but before I introduce her, I'm gonna let her have like a second to still kind of get ready. Um, Let me just make sure everything's all set up before I actually do start talking because I am like right now drawing a blank for some reason because I know for a fact that I do need to fix a lot of my intro because it's way too short. Doesn't give me much time to kind of like figure out what I'm going to say first. And I do rehearse everything before even signing up and doing all this. Um, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Alina, aka Blondie, and you're watching Simply Blondie, where I talk about pretty much everything and anything that is on my mind, from the very important stuff all the way down to the BS and everything in between. In all honesty, I need to come up with a shorter motto for that, but it's stuck, so I'm going to stick with it. Now, last week I was supposed to do a Thursday stream, but I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, I'm one to respect the time frame that people have when it comes to seeing big budget movies such as Marvel films as well as DC films. Um, I'm going to make this a very spoiler free thing because I have been noticing an uprise of people kind of spoiling everything for everyone within like an hour of seeing it. So this is gonna be a spoiler free. I'm gonna probably drop some things here and there that might be on the border of spoiling it, but it's not gonna be too much or not overbearing spoils. But here's the thing: is that with this being the final Galaxy movie from James Gunn, my thing is that well, actually, I have several things about it. My thing is about it is that is this going to be the end of it all? Is it going to be the end of seeing the Guardians on the big screen anymore? Or is it going to just kind of be just the end of the franchise of the Guardians of the Galaxy since James Gunn went over to DC after being let go in 2018? There's also a lot of other things I do want to talk about that has a lot of, you know, common things in it as well, along with the writer's strike that is happening. It started off on May 2nd, as well as the hashtag that I saw around that same time too regarding James Gunn, which I wanted to kind of like bring this up to my guest when she gives me the thumbs up, being canceled once again. And that kind of like that whole tag, that whole hashtag cancel James Gunn kind of threw me through a loop because I was kind of really confused about that. In addition to that, if you guys haven't heard, Disney's actually parting ways with Dwayne Johnson after a lawsuit that has been filed recently. So does this mean that we are no longer going to be getting a live action 2016 version of Moana? So, yeah. So without further ado, let me give her a few more minutes so she can do her final touches. Okay. Good. All right. So never mind. She is ready to go. Let me bring in. I talked about her in multiple times in my stream from time to time, and I actually just put in one of her videos that I was a part of, which I would bring in the whole thing in a second about that. We're going to talk about. But before I bring her in, real quick, sorry, I'm like kind of teasing a little bit. Here are my socials. Please follow me on social media. I have TikTok, I have Twitter, I have Instagram. I have been kind of like MIA for a little bit. I've been trying to kind of like catch up on some work, but I've been trying to do this as well. I do have a coffee. I have the link just right here. Actually, I don't use coffee that much. Actually, there it is. Here's my QR code for coffee. You guys are more than welcome to tip me. It's not expected, but I'm very humbled by it. If you do like what I do, this is kind of like a second job for me. This is kind of almost like a part-time job. If you guys are interested in tipping me to help the channel grow a little bit more, there's my QR code. You're more than welcome to just use your phone, click on it, and donate $1 if anything. I am working on my Patreon as we speak. I will have that up and running by June. So without further ado, let me introduce the one and only. I know her as my gorgeous work wife, and that's why I gave her some more time. Let me introduce you, Danny from Comics and Cosmetics.
Hello.
Hello. It's been a while since I've had you on a live stream.
I know. It's been a while.
We've been busy. We
Yeah,
both been busy.
yeah. Normally, you know me, I'm in full makeup, but I actually put in 4 garden boxes today of vegetables.
Hmm.
and had stuff to do. So
I've been thinking about doing garden boxes for quite some time since I moved out to Arizona, and I have the space for it now.
mhm.
And I'm probably gonna have to ask you some questions after the stream regarding gardening boxes and all that to see which ones are the best to get.
Well, Dave built ours.
Oh, okay. So that's the best kind. You get them handmade by your man.
Yeah, he had a garden store,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
for a couple of years, and so he just built garden boxes, and we have a huge garden plot in between our properties and his dad's. So
Okay.
we'll be putting cone in that one.
All
Cone.
right. So tell my audience for those who are brand new about your channel and what you do on your channel.
Well, my eyes aren't normally misshapen, but I'm trying an eyelid tape from Amazon. I'm reviewing it, and it's been a thing. It's been a thing. My name's Danny Sanssouci, licensed cosmetologist and registered super nerd. And I have a channel called Comics and Cosmetics where I talk about whatever nerdy topic I've been obsessing about that week while doing my makeup at the same time. And then I also have a live show on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We have different topics every week, and I always have different guests, and it's a really good time. Right now, the breakdowns are kind of on hiatus while I'm waiting to kind of upgrade my stuff here.
Mhm.
But I have been filling that with a bunch of interviews. Last week, I was able to interview Dave Glass, who is the production designer for Star Trek Picard seasons 2 and 3.
Oh,
And I will be talking to Neville Page, who was the creature designer and creative designer for Picard seasons 2 and 3. Yeah, and Discovery and Avatar.
oh,
And
okay, wow.
I mean, the list goes on. He's also one of the judges on Face Off. He started in the third season.
Okay.
So we've had to reschedule a couple of times. Last time was because of the writer's strike, but he's going to be coming up soon too. So
Okay.
this season's been mostly about interviews right now because of
Yeah.
the never ending equipment issue. So hopefully that gets rectified soon. And I think I'm just going to take this stuff off because when I catch a glimpse of my face, it's just unnerving, distracting. Okay, yeah, they're off now. They still look two different shapes. What is happening? Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, I look crazy right now.
No, you look fine. You look fine. I usually look tired half of the time, so I have to like splash on some makeup but you look fine today.
Thanks. I was trying to put color in my face after, wearing my fat ass out in the garden.
But so you saw Gardens of the Galaxy, and I think you saw it in 3D. Am I
Yes,
correct? All
yes,
right. So you and I had that we switched our experience because I saw Thor: Love and Thunder in 3D,
yeah,
and you saw it in like regular
yeah.
standard. This time you saw it in 3D, and I saw it standard. So give me your experience with the 3D aspect because I was tempted to do 3D.
Uh, I just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I was so into the movie that it was, I barely noticed. I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference if I saw it in 2D. I don't
Mm,
know. I was super into it. I was very immersed. So I don't know if that was just because of James Gunn really understood the assignment or,
yeah. Hello, Stone.
hey, Shield
Your
Ball.
wall. What is Stone?
Um, I don't know if it had anything to do with the 3D aspect or that it was just a damn good movie, but I
All
was
right.
totally immersed.
I don't know. Same here. Like I don't know about you, but like the moment the movie started, I started bawling. Like I just started crying because every single time they brought in Rocket's past or like they had a flashback of his past, it
Mhm.
was just tears building up on
Oh yeah,
tears.
Amelia got on to me a couple of times. She's like, "Stop crying, stop! Like you stop. I'm here to have an experience."
No, but a real quick disclaimer for younger audience. I personally as me, I wouldn't suggest kids under the age of 10 even animal lovers watching this film, if you can't handle animal cruelty,
Yeah.
it's like I love animals and I was like upset the entire time, but I still enjoyed it. But there's just a lot of depiction of animal cruelty, and it's
There
just
was,
like, yeah,
that scene.
yeah,
Sorry, that scene, Amelia's like, "I think I know what it's going to happen, so I'm going to go to the bathroom." So she got up and she left.
she loved.
When she came back, I tried to tell her what happened, and she was like, "Nope, no, I'm good." So,
Yep, yep. And this, to me, in all honesty, like is out of the thing is that with James Gunn, like you already said, he understood the assignment. He always understands the assignment.
mhm,
And will you be doing spoilers during the stream? I already kind of like explained I'm not gonna do spoilers because I do respect the time frame that people have when it comes to Marvel films and DC films. I don't want to give out too much because I want people to form their own opinions about something. I'll mention this now. There is 2 end credits
mhm,
and one I'm going to talk to you about in like towards the end of this like whole talk about it when we get to it. But yeah, there's this is a spoiler free, but I will mention probably like borderline spoiler stuff. But going back, you did mention that James Gunn does understand the assignment.
mhm,
And when I was getting kind of like ready for this whole panel, I actually grabbed the live stream, the last one that I did with you, of talking about the stuff that James Gunn has to fix with the DC, universe and all that. And there was a point where there's some stuff that I didn't get a chance to say, so I'm probably going to say it during the time we're talking about him. But with James, is like he has his niche is working with music, working with lighting, storytelling through the music and visuals and everything. And personally, I can't pick any other director to direct another Guardian, like a Guardians film. There's
well,
no,
this trilogy is done, meaning this team of the Guardians
yeah,
done. So there won't be any more movies of this team,
mhm,
but there will be other Guardians, like, you know,
yeah.
um, I don't know, like it said Star-Lord will
It's
be
it's
back.
fine.
It said that part, that he would be back, but, I don't know how accurate that's going to be, if Chris Pratt would even want to continue working for Disney without James Gunn.
Mhm.
Um, I can tell you just based on his faith alone, it he's probably unhappy. The things I know personally from people that have worked with Disney in that capacity, they don't like it.
I figured.
It's a really tough company to work for. Like Batista was asking for years. He's like, just kill me off. They're like, no, we're not gonna.
I get. I mean, yeah, that I can actually agree with because when it comes to like Tim Burton, he's done The Nightmare Before Christmas, he's done the Alice in Wonderland 1 and 2, he did the Dumbo film, and that was the last film that he did for Disney because their rules are so harsh.
Well, not
And
just that. If you tick off the wrong person, they'll get rid of you, and not just get rid of you. They'll get rid of you in a horrible way, and then cancel you. And canceling with Disney means something totally different than it does to us.
yeah,
Canceling by Disney means they have you shadow banned on socials,
yep, that's
so
true.
no one can see you. They will send spies to call or stop by your house and try to feed it. Like, hey, do you have the schematics from this thing that we built last season? You're like, oh no, I turned that all in with my hard drive. Okay, just checking. Just stuff like
Stuff like
that.
that.
Some people have told me I have figured out that some people are so paranoid that they won't answer the phone. If they see certain cars outside, they panic. It's bad.
As the thing is, as much as I love Disney, I know, like, I figured it's not that amazing to work with them because
No.
it's one to be like a fan of it, it's another to kind of like sign a contract with them, and then you make one small error, and it's like, oh, sorry, we don't know who you are.
Yep. Yep.
And the whole thing with Guardians, like I know that in July of 2018, a lot of tweets from James Gunn back in the day resurfaced and people were trying to cancel him, and that's when Disney, like, kind of like pulled the trigger and saying, you know what,
Yeah,
you're
they
gone.
fired him. And then the entire cast of Guardians, like all of them, signed this letter and said, "We all quit if you don't bring back James Gunn," because James Gunn is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that is actually true, 100%. That's kind of like going into the whole thing of, with the success of Guardians, do you think this had blown up in Disney's face of letting go of James Gunn?
Uh-huh. Yeah, because think about it, Marvel hasn't really put out that great of content in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been few and far between. The only 2 really good movies I think they came out with in the last couple years is Wakanda Forever and Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah.
Um, and not just to have Guardians come out, be a good movie and do well at the box office, but to have it come out and just basically punch everybody in the face with, I mean, the visceral emotion, the more matured sense of humor that all I mean, the character development period, but the way that it all came together and the way it came to such a satisfactory end,
Hmm.
that just absolutely proves how great of a filmmaker James Gunn is.
Yeah.
From the writing to his eye for talent, his vision, he's very good at what he does. And so to have the one decent MCU movie to come out this year
Yeah.
be James Gunn, who's heading up a whole new studio now, their direct competition, they had to shit their pants a little bit and say, okay, we need to
Fix this, or we
yeah,
need to.
we need to correct course because now we don't have him anymore.
Oh no, because like kind of going back to that live stream I did with you, I do believe that, because here's the thing, I just recently saw the 2021 version of Suicide Squad just recently, and
Oh, I love it.
I loved it. I really did. I fell in love, and I ironically was with Peacemaker. I was just like, okay, now I have to go watch the show Peacemaker because now I
It's
understand why
so
everyone,
good.
why it's so good. The thing is that like I have now officially a comparison between Suicide Squad, the first one they did with like Joker, and then this one not including him. It's like, okay, this seems better with James Gunn in the work, like in the reins.
Yeah.
And I felt like, yes, it was a small taste to see, like, hey, should we bring James to DC? Let's see. He did successful with that movie. So it's just like, oh, we're bringing him in. And now I feel like DC is going to be more competition for Marvel Studios now because of the fact that they got somebody that knows the material, that understands the assignment. You give him, like, we want you to do this. It's like, okay, I got it, but I'm going to bring it up an extra notch. And going back to the Guardians, it's just like some of the movies that Marvel have came out with doesn't really, sometimes like the correlation to it doesn't really match up until like maybe like small sections.
Mhm.
This 1, 2, and 3, they all just, like you said, they fuse together. They come together. You have a starting point. You have this point from whatever you saw in this first movie, and it's in the second one. It makes more sense.
Mhm.
When it comes to the third one, you see it again. You're like, okay, this makes a lot more sense as to why he thought like this in the second one and than the
Mhm.
first one.
And of course, the holiday special.
Exactly. And that's the one thing that
Mhm.
it's like for me, it's kind of like it kind of bugs me a little bit because there's some people that don't have Disney Plus. So when they say, oh, you got to go watch the Disney special, like the Guardians of the Galaxy special, to understand why the Guardians have nowhere now as their headquarters, like why doesn't the Collector have it anymore? And it's like, well, in that you find out that, yeah, spoiler alert a little bit if you haven't seen it, Collector sells it over to the Guardians. He just hands it over to them, and that's it. So it does give you some indication that the Collector's still around.
Yeah.
So that
He's
kind of
out
debunks the whole thing of him being dead.
Yeah. He's out there.
He's out there somewhere just floating around, just chilling with his brother, like shit. But you find out about the relationship between Peter and Mantis, of them being half siblings, and it's just like, okay, that makes perfect sense. And what I just like about this whole thing is that it's not just a Guardians movie, but it's just almost like a whole origin story for Rocket, which it
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah,
it's
James Gunn said that this whole time, Rocket's kind of been the secret protagonist of the entire trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah, if you really think about it, yeah, like that's why I mentioned like the whole three and having it fused together. You just see it as that's how I eventually when I sat down and thought about it, I was just like, you know what, it makes a lot of sense, especially like in the second one where he's like, I can't afford to lose another friend. I can only afford to lose one. And it's just like, what the hell does that mean? You see the second one, you find out, oh shit, Peter and him are best friends. So it's just like they started off as hating each other, being best friends at the end. And it's just like, yeah, I can't afford to lose another friend of mine. So it's just like, yes, that whole thing in itself was just in like for me, I just got immersed the moment this movie just started. And then seeing everything unfold and seeing how, the towards the end of having that subtle, that's not even subtle, that whole everything wraps around to the point where everyone wants to go and do their own stuff. Everyone has speculated that everyone was going to get killed off, but not really. They just gave everyone some form of closure that they've been either trying to look for quite some time in the other two films to, now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very satisfying. And normally when I finish out a trilogy or a franchise like that, there's kind of this sense that I'm left with that, oh yeah, I'm just so bummed that there's not going to be any more. Oh god, it just, you never feel closure, I guess. You still want more of it, kind of thing. And don't get me wrong, I love those characters, but the way he wrapped it up was so perfect that
Hmm.
I don't need another one.
No, no, same.
Because if there was another one, it would feel weird,
It
like
would.
there so many of them got their happy endings.
Yeah. I
I'd
mean,
love to see Mantis come back and see what she
what
has
she's
figured out.
doing.
Yeah.
Because I
How
know that from like the little research I did, that I know that Mantis was never like a part of the original Guardians. And even then, I think in the comics, she was supposed to be killed off or something like that.
she's actually one of the most powerful beings in the universe.
Hmm.
She's super powerful. But the Guardians of the Galaxy is a legacy title, meaning
Okay.
that the members of it change all the time. In fact, the Star Lord was never in the very first team of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but
Mhm.
Yondu was, and
Yeah.
Strakkar and his wife, and those were the first Guardians of the Galaxy. Star
Okay.
Lord was in the second team.
Okay. Okay. Because I know, like, I mean, like I said, I did a little research, and that's why I brought you in because you're more savvy on this than I am. Because I'm not, my strength is not comic books, but cinema is. But the thing is that the way, like, for instance, like the whole Drax thing, it's kind of a spoiler a little bit, but not really.
Mhm.
Drax being like this mighty warrior, but he's also a father. And that was mentioned in like in the first film. And
Yeah.
he mentions like, yeah, Thanos killed my wife and my daughter.
Mhm.
And that whole story, develop that whole story arc right there was kind of dropped in the second film for a little bit. But then it was brought back up in the third one, in the final one, kind of like giving like, hey, you know what? Remember that time in the first one we mentioned about Drax being a dad? We're going to bring it back up here. And you're going to now understand that he's not really a warrior. He's more of a gentle person that
He wasn't
is a
angry.
father.
He wasn't angry. He was hurt.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. Because I actually sat down, rewatched it, and I did see, yeah, you know what? Drax was a hurt person. He lost his daughter, he lost his wife. Now he's after a person, like a man who is trying to eradicate the universe with a snap of his finger. And he wants to stop this, which sure enough he does, which, end games, sure enough they do.
Mhm.
What I also do like is the fact that, like, even like unconsciously, like Gamora, like I actually like this Gamora a lot, to be honest. Like she was a badass.
Mhm. I had the only issue I had at all in the whole film, and it's barely an issue or complaint,
Mm,
but and it might be because I'm biased too, but her makeup, her makeup was different, and different's fine, but here she's basically on a pirate ship. She's got dreads, wearing Ravager jumpsuits and stuff. why in the hell would she take the time to pull out sparkly green metallic eyeshadow and go, okay, and now I'm ready to steal some shit? She wouldn't. Like, she's not touching any other part of herself for beautification purposes,
Yeah.
her hair or anything. So why would she take the time to put on eyeshadow? That bothered me through the whole thing. That her
I
makeup.
figured that was gonna bother you because I thought about when I saw her look, I was just like, I know for a fact Danny's gonna be saying something about her look because it was something off, but
It wasn't as the realism in the makeup was gone. And this is where I'll say, okay, so maybe I'm a little biased, but my friend worked on Guardians 2.
okay.
And he's kind of my mentor, and he's always telling me that, you're coming from a place of beauty makeup. You have to remember with special effects, you're going more for realism. You want it to
Mhm.
look like skin, not makeup. But it looked like makeup on her. The lips were so much darker green,
Yeah.
and the eyeshadow was all sparkly and stuff. Like, but that's not what her skin looks like. Why did you do that? It's because Disney fired my friend and Caranoed him, so now he doesn't
Oh.
work for Legacy Effects anymore. So some other a-hole at Legacy Effects decided, "Hey, hand me that Jeffree Star Blood Money palette. I've got a great idea."
Oh, okay, that makes sense because I know you saw Renfield and you kept saying that your friend was in there as
Got
well.
credited 3 times.
Oh, no, I saw that. I saw you mentioned it 3 times he was credited.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had the same this is kind of like going sidetrack a little bit. When I was watching Renfield, that whole scene with the fight scene in the restaurant
Mhm.
and Ben Short's getting stabbed in the neck with a fork
Uh-huh.
bugged the hell out of me because the next scene he doesn't have any bandages, he doesn't have the scarring whatsoever. Like, and I was just like, where is this? Like, where's the cut or the stab wound or
There
anything?
may have been a scene they dropped in editing
Oh, okay, see.
that could have happened.
Because I mean, if you do talk to him, tell him they did a great job on Nick Cage's Dracula. If he
That
did,
was that was Christian.
okay.
Brian was he took the job to help Christian out. So I
Okay.
don't think he did Nick's um like design or
Mhm.
anything, but he did puppeteering. I think he did where the face got ripped off, and I
Okay.
guessed it right away. I was like, the scene where the guy's face gets ripped off. That was you, right? He's like, so yeah, he did prosthetic special effects and puppeteering, and I have it's a little here. Let me clean it off a little bit.
Mhm.
But he actually gave me a wrap gift, a cast and crew wrap gift from Renfield.
Aw.
Um, it got somehow got some powder on it, so I'm just wiping it off real quick. There we go. It's better.
Oh, that's cool. That's
On
cool.
the desk of Renfield, and it's a little coffin-shaped notebook made of natural fibers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I was like, "Whoa, it's so funny, thanks." I'm such a dork. Like,
But no,
I'll watch it.
when I saw Gamora's look, I thought about you like right away. I was like, she's gonna say something about it because even though she was pretty badass because she had because her thing was is that she was Gamora, but she wasn't Peter's Gamora anymore.
Yeah.
She was a whole new Gamora. So that mannerisms of her being a badass was there, even though she was a badass previously. But it's just like for him, it was just like, yeah, I used to be my Gamora, but like, and then her constantly telling like, I'm not your Gamora, like
Mhm.
stop. But
And
each
I'm
of the
really
character, huh?
go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying like each of the character like got their own like I said, happy ending, and it was really good. It was really nice that they all got their own happy ending, and they're just given opportunities to grow. Some characters kind of went off to go do their own thing. Others kind of stayed back and had, jobs to do to make sure everything functions correctly.
And we got to see where the bathrooms are on the Bowie.
Yes,
That's
finally.
important.
That was very important.
Well, it's important, like, okay, so when my little brother and I were kids, we got the blueprints to the Starship Enterprise D.
Mhm.
we poured through every single page, every blueprint looking for bathrooms. You're like, they've got everything else mapped out in here. How come there are no bathrooms? And we found one. They refer to it as the head, naval
Hmm.
terms. And it was in Riker's quarters.
Hmm. So we all
Makes
got to share that one bathroom in Riker's quarters. Oh shit. But no, yeah. I actually just like the fact that she was just when she was using the bathroom, just her humming a song
Yeah.
just randomly, and it's just like, oh, she does have a soft side that she doesn't probably show anybody.
Yeah. It was, yeah, that was a great scene. She's like,
But I love the fact that the actor who played Adam Warlock when he
yes,
came in, a
Will,
lot of he did good.
Will, yeah, Will Poulter.
Will
He did
Poulter.
fantastic. He did
A
really
lot
good.
of people, the thing is that the one thing people complained about, and they even stated in the movie, was that he was stupid. And I'm like, yeah, they hatched him a little too early. So he's still learning stuff. So what do you expect? You get interrupted in your growth process and you're not going to know everything right off the bat. You're going to have to sit there and you have to learn all this. And I was really impressed because the thing is, there were just so many people complaining about the casting for him. I go, he actually did a really good
Did
job.
really good. And he got beefed up for that
He
too.
He did. That he did. That was the one thing I didn't notice, but there was like not a single like shirtless scene for like because Marvel does that. They
Yeah.
always have like the actor like work out a lot, and then you're expecting to see like a shirtless scene, and there's like none
I'll
whatsoever.
never forget Guardians Volume 1.
Exactly.
Crap.
Hmm.
Shower scene.
But there's now what's it called? A theory going around. I think James himself confirmed it about Rocket's obsession with the prosthetics throughout the movies. That he's like, hey, how much you want for the leg? I need the leg, the arm, the eyeball. All links up to his friends that all had like small little prosthetics themselves, like Layla, Floor, and Teef, all
Mhm.
having the prosthetics. And it's just kind of like he still remembered his friends and carrying that little card with him. Because
Yeah.
when I saw that, I was just like, obviously when you see it the first time, you're like, what is that? You find out he carries that as a reminder of his friends. Now, the big baddie of himself, the high evolutionary.
Yes. My dog's over there making
Ah.
talking to me.
But he's worse than Thanos.
Yeah. Chuck Woody Awuji did an
He
amazing
did.
job. And I've said before that he it was like an emotionally, physically abusive, narcissistic, alcoholic dad. Like it was because he would when he was almost sweet when he's sitting with him. He's like, yes, P139, whatever.
Yeah.
And but then he comes in like stumbling around and losing his mind,
Yells.
like, how did you do,
Yeah.
it gave me chills. He was so good at that. He was so good at it, and I'm really excited that I think he's already in the DCU.
Okay.
Um, he's in Peacemaker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's true, actually.
Um, so he's already over there, so hopefully he gets to stay. I know a lot of people were pissed that or were complaining that James Gunn uh, cast his wife in Volume 3.
That's kind of the hashtag cancel James Gunn that everyone has
Yeah,
been bitching and complaining about.
but he casts her in his movie and immediately shoots her in the leg. And if you watch it, it's fucking hilarious. You just ah! It was brilliant. It was
Because
absolutely
that was the hashtag that was going around before Guardians came out. It was hashtag cancel James Gunn. And I'm kind of like, what is it this time? And I'm seeing that, oh, it's because he cast his wife, his brother, and all his films.
but it
And I'm,
works.
huh? Oh, no. Because here's the thing I go, this is going to be kind of interesting. You're probably going to hate these people too, but Adam Sandler does it. He cast all his friends. He has his own studio.
His
Same
nephew,
thing with
his
Kevin
wife,
Smith.
his kids. Yep.
Yeah. Same thing with Kevin Smith. He casts everybody that he's either been friends with, he's met. Like He casts everybody in. So I'm just like, why are you guys getting pissed about that? People do that all the time.
Yeah.
The director who did the Evil Dead series has Bruce Campbell in all
Raimi,
his films. He'll
and his
find a way to
brother.
get him in there.
Ted Raimi is Sam Raimi's
Yeah.
Sam Raimi's brother, and he's in every single one. Clint Howard is Ron Howard's brother.
That's another one. Actually,
He's
also Ron Howard's daughter is also in a lot of his stuff
really
too.
on that woman. She is
But
unkind.
but it's just like I sat there, saw that hashtag, and I'm just like, the movie's not even out, and you're already trying to cancel. So I thought at first too was because since James Gunn has been in the DC cleaning house and getting everything set up, that a lot of people are trying to cancel him because the Flash movie's coming out. And
Mhm.
they're like, oh, well, you didn't cancel this. And it's just like, this is movies and shows that came before I came in. So it's like, why would I cancel something that's
You
going to
can't
cost the
explain
studio a
that
lot of money?
because it's the truth and it makes sense and it's logical, and that just aggravates people. So,
Yeah, that's true.
Tiny, what? What? What are
He
you
wants some
doing?
cheese. That's what he wants.
He probably does. Little Gouda addict.
But no, I saw that hashtag and I was just like, so I looked, like I said, it's like everyone does it. Even oh my god, I just mentioned his name. Tim Burton does it too with Johnny
Helena
Depp.
Bonham Carter's his wife. Him and
Well, ex-wife.
oh,
They're not
they're
married.
divorced. Oh,
They're
okay.
divorced. Yeah,
Well, her and Johnny Depp are in every single one of his movies.
exactly. So it's just more along the lines of like, you guys are just realizing this now that Hollywood directors especially bring in people that they personally know. And with Guardians, it's like, yeah, even Michael Rooker is in a lot of James Gunn's films as well.
Mhm. Yeah, Michael Rooker, Rainn Wilson. His ex-wife is Jenna Fisher. She's also from St. Louis. You know, Pam from The Office.
Okay.
And she introduced him to Rainn Wilson, and they became friends. He's like, "Oh, I like this dude," and he started putting him in stuff.
Mm. See? So it's just kind of like, I mean, the success of this movie right now, Guardians, has surpassed already the Super Mario Bros. Movie already in short amount of time.
It's an amazing movie. It is well written, well acted. I heard a bigger YouTuber was complaining about it, but he's a guy who hates James Gunn because James Gunn publicly doxed him on Twitter,
Oh damn.
told him he lived in his mom's basement, and ever since then, this guy's just been like, oh, man. But
You
anyway,
that's
his
the thing. That's like, I feel like that's like on my list of people you don't want to piss off, and that's James Gunn, because it's just
right.
like James, like, why would you want to piss off James Gunn out of all? Oh, hi.
Hi, he needs it.
Hello. Hello, Truth
Hey, dude.
31.
Yeah, you're distracting me, you cute little thing. Oh my god. He wants daddy. Woo!
He's like, bye.
Ah. It's an amazing film, and anyway, I heard this complaint that, well, you know, right? I felt myself starting to get, as soon as I was like getting uninterested, suddenly it would suck me right back in, and you don't want that in a film. And I was like, that's exactly what you want in a
Yeah,
movie.
you want to be
Because what I just
immersed.
heard is that it kept you interested. So,
Yeah.
and then he's like, and it was just jam packed. It just felt like the scenes didn't have time to breathe. I'm like, so what you're saying is it was jam packed. Yes, it was. It
It
had a
was.
lot going on, but you didn't miss anything. It's not like you felt like you were going 50 directions. You felt satisfied, like having a really good meal, you know? There were no
Yeah.
crumbs left on that screen.
Nope.
No crumbs.
Nope. It had a good balance of action. It had a good balance of drama. It had comedy. It had just a good balance. And then this film being like the first time the F bomb is dropped,
Get
it
in the
was just like, it was that part was just like, yeah, like, Star-Lord is already done with, Nebula's shit. It's like, just open the fucking door. Like, I would have been the same way too. I'm just like, dude, you're wrong button. Okay, now just open. it's literally like, that's like right there, almost like Marvel history, almost in a sense. That's the first F bomb, but then people are now dropping. Well, what about Deadpool? I'm like, what about Deadpool? It's not wasn't in the DC, it wasn't in the Marvel universe with Disney. It
Mhm.
was still with Fox.
Mhm.
Now, when that comes out, then yeah, it's gonna be considered like the first F bomb movie. That's gonna be more than just once. It's gonna be
Mhm.
multiple. But
I personally think that was James Gunn's like final fuck you to Disney. I'm like, you know what? I think Chris Pratt's gonna say the F word,
yeah,
Disney, and I think that's a hard line for me. Yeah, yeah. Put that
yeah.
next to that final zero on my.
I feel like, yeah, probably that's what I was thinking too. I was just feel like, yeah, no, I'm just done with this shit. Like, we're done. But let me ask you this. What was the reason why you went to go watch The Guardians? I mean, we talked about how amazing the movie is and everything, but like, what was your reason to go and watch
I
this?
really wanted to see it.
I mean, that's everyone's reason. Like, yeah, it's my
Really
reason
wanted
too.
to see it. No, this wasn't a work trip. I mean, this was if it was just a work trip, I would have brought like a notebook and pen with me. No, I wanted to go see it. This was I took my kids to see the first one at the drive-in,
Mm,
and I could only get Amelia to go with me this time. And then come to find out, my son Kessler went and saw it with his friends. I'm like, oh, you little shit. But no, this I took my daughter with me, and I wanted to go and have a good time. I love James Gunn and his films. I love that he represents St. Louis. That's right. We have very talented people here. Um, I really love the Guardians movies. I have never been disappointed ever.
yeah.
This is one trilogy in the entire MCU that hasn't had any hiccups. It's been consistent all the way across the board every time. And I knew it was going to be a good one. I was just really excited. So I just really wanted to see it, man.
Same thing with me. It's more of like, I feel like when it comes to like the Guardians, it's one of those movies that it has a good director. Had because he's gone now. Has a good director that understands the material, that knows what he wants to put out there, that sticks to the assignment instead of
Mhm,
veering off and doing something different.
mhm.
And it's for me. I just like the stories. It got me the Guardians, in all honesty, got me into Marvel a little bit more than just Iron Man and Captain
Yeah,
America.
yeah.
And this also kind of got me into doing like deep research on the Elders of the Universe because I didn't know who the hell they were until like I saw Collector. That's when I fell in love, started doing research on the Collector, the Grand Master, and then finding out that it's not just those two, but you got Ego, who is, obviously a planet that's Peter Quill's father. You find out, like, you start looking into all this different stuff and you just start learning that there are other gods of the
Blessed.
universe that's
Yep.
in the Marvel universe that always like kind of like come together somehow, some way. And like I know there's a lot of controversy behind Chris Pratt, his divorce, how he pushes his beliefs onto others, his political views and everything. And now people are coming out saying that apparently Chris Pratt is part of the 3%. And it's not him, it's his brother that's part of the 3%. But people are trying to put him into the same category as his brother because he was wearing a hat with stars on it. But people are saying there's hats with stars on them. It's just you have to have a number 3 on it.
Well, the way I look at it is now I'm a Midwestern girl. I
Mm,
pretty much live in the country, grow my own food.
mm,
Um, I how do I put this? I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I think they're both idiots.
same.
And I think anyone who works in Washington most definitely does not have our best interests at heart.
Mm-mm.
Um, so I guess I'm closer to an anarchist than anything because I don't think anybody should be telling anyone else what to do.
Mhm.
Period.
Right.
I don't like any law that says you can take things away from me, tell me what to do in my own home, or I don't get a say in what my children are taught or not taught or this or that. I don't like any of that. Just let me do my thing. I'm not bothering you,
Yeah.
vice versa. So when it comes to um, those affiliations or whatever, I I'd probably agree more with people who are like, you can't take my gun rights away, you can't take my pot rights away. I agree with that stuff
Mhm.
because that's dangerous. It's dangerous to say you can't have any weapons to defend yourself. The reason why the Second Amendment was put into place when it
Mhm.
was so that if our government became tyrannical and stopped speaking for us, we could fire them. And if they didn't go peacefully, we could go and overthrow it. That is our right as a nation.
Mhm.
So where I live, we are very we do what we want. You're not going to come in here and tell us what to do.
Yeah.
And so whenever I hear stuff about, well, this person is with the 3%ers or this person's with that, I'm like, more power to him. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I just don't because it doesn't change how I feel they did their job on screen. This is a job for them. Their
Yeah.
personal and private lives should be just that. When I went and cut someone's hair when I was, when I owned the salon, they weren't coming to me because of my political views
Yeah.
or how little or how much I drank. They came because they liked the way I cut hair, plain and simple. So I wish that the world would focus more on that stuff. The whole it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
It's nobody's business.
Oh no, that's actually what I was gonna get to was that when I go to the movies and you find out about like act because before, even before like social media, like you didn't know anything about their parties or the religion or anything. And that was like that's what I liked is that I didn't want to know this. This is not my life, like you were saying.
Mhm.
I go to the movies and I separate their life from what they're doing from their job. It's like you said, they went in, they did their job, they read their script, they acted, they gave here's the material, there you go. I separate that. People for some reason cannot do that. And it's just like I go, look, I may not be a big fan of Chris Pratt. I may have liked him when he was in Parks and Rec when he first started and like stardom got to his head. And a lot of times that happens. You have people that can handle stardom, you have people who can't, but it gets to their head a little bit. But do I like Chris Pratt any less because of his views on stuff? No. That's his views. That's not mine. If I don't agree with him, I don't have to agree with everyone. That's why the word celebrity is us celebrating these people's success versus focusing on what we
Well,
want.
and the world or this country, in a way, it really seems to have lost the plot when it comes to that that freedom of speech thing. Like you're allowed to have views, you were
Yeah.
allowed to have these opinions. It's not that it the First Amendment doesn't say here is the right to speech that we have given you. What it says is here are the rights that were given to you by God and we can't take them away.
Yeah.
So the beautiful thing is everyone can say whatever they want. The crappy thing is if everyone's able to say whatever they want, occasionally you're going to hear something that you don't agree with. But
True.
guess what? Chances are you've said a few things that those people didn't agree with.
True.
Balance.
True. That
Yeah.
is actually 100% true. There are things that we say
Mhm.
and like let me think. How would I say this? There are things that I can understand when it comes to the cancel culture. Kind of going back to kind of like cancel James Gunn. In 2018, people dug up his Twitter and they saw a lot of tweets that were kind of considered inappropriate. But he did apologize for that at the time. But the thing is that there are celebrities that there's like two types of people. There are people that own up to their mistakes because there was a special that I saw, like an interview between I don't remember who, but it was Kevin Hart talking about tweets that he's done in the past.
Mhm.
And he's apologized for that 10 years ago. And this is going during the time where he was going to be hosting the Oscars.
Mhm.
And the people for the Oscars, they go through your Twitter feed, they look through everything. It's like, well, you said this on this day. And it's just like, yeah, but I apologized for that 10 years ago. So why is it becoming now something that happened now? I'm
Mhm.
not that same person I was 10 years ago. And it's just like I do feel like when it comes to like people getting pissed, people boycotting, canceling stuff, it's like you guys are going based on information from 10 years ago
Mhm.
instead of being information that's current, like right now, like the Guardians of the Galaxy. People are like, I'm not gonna watch it because of Chris Pratt's views. Okay, that they're not gonna be hurt by the
Yeah,
fact you didn't watch it.
but that's how you tell them what you wanna see, what you don't see, by not buying a ticket, by
Yeah,
not giving them your money.
yeah, don't support it.
Unfortunately, a lot more people bought tickets than not,
Yeah.
so
It's like if you don't like something, if you don't like seeing something, don't look at it. You don't want to support something, don't buy it. Don't go
right.
to it. It's like these people go like, "Oh, I'm not going to go to Target because you have all this stuff," but then you're there a week later and it's just like, "Didn't you say you're not going to go back?" Like, I don't understand. But this movie in itself, you almost mentioned it, which I'm cool with it. It's at the very end, the last post credit about the legendary Star Lord coming back. You
Yeah.
know, that's kind of a spoiler a little bit for you guys. How would you, and you mentioned it, how would you, if you were the one that were to be working for Marvel and you were like, okay, how are you going to do this? Like, how are you going to bring back the Guardians? Are you going to have it as a standalone for Star-Lord, a standalone solo adventure, bringing Chris Pratt back in, or even a variant of him? Or are you going to be focusing on a whole brand new, like, start from scratch team?
Um, I think he's gonna show up in Secret Wars, um,
Hmm.
and that's what I would do. Someone has to go to St. Louis to pick up Peter. They're like, "We need you." I'm
Get
at
in
a
the car.
hockey game. I don't care. Get in the car. That was something that really tickled me too. The newspaper said St. Charles Post,
Hmm.
but I think it was supposed to be its stand-in or a placeholder for St. Louis Post Dispatch, which is the paper
Oh,
in the
the
area.
paper.
Yeah, it's like New York Times or,
Oh,
something like that. It's St. Louis Post Dispatch. It's a big deal.
oh, okay.
So, that made me really excited that his hometown is my hometown. Yeah, I think something's gonna happen, and, maybe with that lazy ass neighbor that he had to mow the lawn for, like, I'll mow it. I just think it's weird that she's got a 45-year-old son right there just watching me mow his lawn.
Oh god, no. That part made
Don't
me
get me
laugh.
started. Oh, now I wanna hear. Excuse me. Oh, no, it was I think something weird's gonna happen, and someone's gotta make a stop and pick Peter up from
Okay,
St. Louis.
okay.
St. Louis.
Because I mean, since you mentioned that scene, a lot of people are also talking about how the hell the grandfather recognized Peter, like, so quickly.
Yeah. Well, I wonder that too, but at the same time, I'd like to think that I would know my kid. Like your heart would speak to you that that's them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There were some theories going around saying that after, like, Endgame, some of them stayed back on, like, on Earth for a little bit, and they probably took a picture, and it got to the St. Louis, newspaper. He saw it and was like, "That's my grandson, he's still alive," and I feel like a lot of times when people lose somebody, like, get kidnapped or something, they families don't really lose that faith of, like, their kid not coming back. Like, they always have
They
faith
could
of
have
them coming back.
they could have been doing because this was definitely common. We had some very famous uh, missing kids around here. One of them,
Mm,
Gina Dawn Brooks, and she went missing in '91.
mm,
Big deal. Still don't know what happened to her. Um, but to this day, they will age up the photo and make, this was what they would look like today.
yeah.
So if his grandfather had never lost hope and, continued to search for Peter for years and years, chances are they did.
The age up.
Yeah. Yep.
That yeah, and it could also been just easily he just probably just looked like his mom
Oh
a
my
little
God, you
bit.
look like Meredith.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He probably just looked like his mom. It's just like, "Oh, there's Meredith, there's my grandson." But, oh god, I had, like, one more question, I just kinda blinked out, but gon I wanna go really quick back to the High Evolutionary,
Hmm.
and I didn't give my 2 cents about him. I know for a fact that he was screaming a lot, like, he was yelling a lot, and
Yeah.
I can understand that this is somebody that considers himself like a god. And to have something outsmart you or just basically show you like, "Hey, you did this all wrong," is
Yeah.
like, I too will be pissed just screaming at everybody as well. No, he did a great job, and it's just like it was like a villain that I wanted to like. I was like, "Okay, I like this guy," but then at the same time, like, I hate you for what you've done, like, what you've been doing this whole time, and especially when he just that one scene of just every you seen in the trailers, just everything exploding.
Mhm.
It's like, "Okay, now I definitely hate you, and literally surpassed Thanos for me because I thought Thanos was bad. You're like 10 times worse than he is." And he did a great job, and I was just kind of, like, hoping that I mean, they didn't kill him off, that's a spoiler right there, sorry. I'm hoping to see him more, but with, James Gunn, it's just kind of like it's up in the air of, whether or not he's gonna come back. If he does, then he does, if he doesn't, he doesn't. But it gives you enough information to kinda sit there and wonder, like, okay, they're gonna probably send him off to prison and then just kinda forget about him, like, shelf him a little bit and that's it. But the going back to what I just asked about, like, about Star-Lord coming back and they kinda, like, later down the road, you mentioned of him coming in and being picked up.
Mhm.
Personally, I feel like if because people are already asking for a 4th one, I'm like, "You're not gonna get a 4th one." I feel like they're just gonna completely reboot it and just give you I
There's a
hope,
new team.
the original team
No,
without Yondu.
the new team now is the one you saw in the
And the 4th
credit.
and 2nd one, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that I know that, the new team, but the thing is that one of the team members being, Kraglin is James Gunn's just like brother and all that. So it's like that question of will he come back without his brother behind the rings? That was the one thing that was like sitting there the whole time, just wondering, like, I would love to see more of this team,
Mhm.
but there's just certain members of that team that might not come back. And they will have to come up with stories and reasons as to why they didn't bother coming back.
Right.
But that's the only way. But I actually like your idea too of just them coming in, picking them up. Because I mean, not only did I hear, because I know you said that, but I also heard that not Scarlet Witch, Black Widow,
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson is supposed to come back in for Secret Wars as well.
Yeah.
So I was just like,
Correct.
okay,
Like
same thing with a lot of other characters that were killed off. But yeah, yeah. So let me switch gears real quick. So you've heard about the strike, right? The
yeah.
writer strike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me change my background because I want to say this right now. We're both striking right now. So there's our little writer strike. We're striking right now with you guys. Writer strike. This one caught me a complete actually, I wasn't even not even completely off guard. I already felt like this was gonna end up happening.
Oh, this
It's
has been in the works since last December. And
mhm.
when I was in Burbank in February, the studios were scrambling because they knew it was coming.
Yeah.
It was in February, okay? 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So instead of just saying, yeah, here's that extra 1% we that you are asking for, they spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars buying up scripts left and right to have a stockpile in hopes to get them all completed and in production before the strike happened so
Mhm.
that they wouldn't have like a lull while we were waiting for this because the last writer strike in 2007 2008 was 100 days long.
Yeah. No, I remember that one.
Yeah, the longest one was in 88 and it was 153 days long.
Damn.
So it could be a while and the studios were panicking back in February.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't personally think it's going to be as long as the one in 2007 because they're just asking for one additional percent. Okay. I mean,
Mm.
without them, none of this exists. They
No.
are the writers or the architects of all of this.
Yep.
Um, so there's that. And they lost a lot of money in 2007, 2008.
Yeah, they did that. I do remember
They could lose a lot more.
because I recently moved from Florida to California right when the writer's strike started, and a lot of shows were put on hold.
Mhm.
And it was just like either some of the shows got canceled that were already in production, some shows were just put on hold completely, and other shows were just dropped. They never made it to like TV or anything like that.
Mhm.
And now this is a big issue now because there was an issue a while back. Actually, I think last year within the art community where AI was coming in. So
Mhm.
now studios are reportedly threatening some of the writers that they're going to get AI to start writing scripts out for them
Yeah,
instead.
yeah.
And I had this full blown conversation with my friend, and I said, you need a human touch when it comes to storytelling. You cannot have an AI write something out for you, and it's going to be so generic because they tried doing that. Someone actually on Twitch not that long ago used an AI, constructed this whole series like a Seinfeld kind of style show,
Mhm.
and it was pretty good so far. I only heard about it, and it was taken off air within like I would say 12 hours of being on because it was getting very like pushing the envelope with the anti-Semitic remarks, homophobic remarks, sexist, all these different stuff now is very controversial, which has always been controversial. But it's just like you can't trust an AI to do something that should be done by a person.
Mhm.
And 1% is not going to kill a studio. It's like almost as if like you're going to threaten the writers with, oh, we're going to have AI do your work. Okay, then it's almost as threatening like makeup artists and hairstylists. Like, well, we're going to have a robot do the actor's hair and makeup. And it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Well, we're going to do it regardless because we don't want to pay you. It's no, it's like you need that human touch to
Mhm.
tell us, a story, kind of going back to Guardians of the Galaxy. You have writers behind that movie that made the movie so successful as it is right now. Yes, you have Stan Lee who gave you the foundation, but you have the writers that came in to tell a deeper story. I cannot trust an AI to tell a story that like that necessarily, perfect without I don't know, just like not being immersed into it. Like this movie, I was immersed into it. And, yes, I understand that studios were scrambling, but how much you make a bet that most of these scripts that they bought are not going to see the light of day?
They're trash. I was telling people for months, I'm like, if you have a spec script, now is your chance. It will get bought. Go sell it now because they will buy it. And then the strike happened. I'm like, and you missed it.
Yeah. No, that strike started like last
Tuesday.
week on the
Yeah,
2nd at 12:01 in the
Tuesday.
morning. I got the notification just like, hey, writer strike. I was like, cool, good. I support this. We're on strike. I'm not dealing with
Well,
this shit right now.
luckily, if it's in production, if the script is finished and it is in production, then you're good to go. So stuff like um, the Thunderbolts and Agatha Covenant Chaos, Loki season 2, those are all good to go.
Okay, good. Because I
However,
did just see that Daredevil was on hold.
yeah, Daredevil's on hold, Wonder Man's on hold, Blade is on hold, everything else is on hold. Severance just got put on hold today. They halted production on that, which made me really fucking sad. I do like that show. Um, everything else is on hold. I'm amazed that they went through with the MTV Movie Awards because I had read that it was going to get canceled because the writer's strike.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore pulled out of hosting it, but still had recorded segments put in. I'm like, guys, you shouldn't cross the picket line when it comes to stuff like this. These
No.
these people are your bread and butter.
Yeah.
They've been your serfs pretty much since films began 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And you're telling me you can't just put one thing one evening on hold? It
What? Because I
just
know that Saturday Night Live, SNL, like the moment the strike started, they put a complete pause on it. And like Jennifer Coolidge was supposed to go on
no,
last week.
Pete Davidson was supposed to go on
Oh,
the weekend that
it started. And
it
then I
started,
think, yeah,
and he canceled it.
yeah. And I mean, like that, like as much as I don't watch that SNL, like a lot of shows, especially like the MTV, I didn't even know that was still going on. The MTV Movie Awards.
It was this last weekend.
See, that's the thing that a lot of people should take example and just like, dude, just take a break. That's it. Like, because I mean, like on top of that, like they really should have like in all honesty, I know they probably were going through this during COVID as well, when everything was completely shut down, everybody had to stay home. It's like this is one thing that you guys really should have just looked into as well and gave that 1% to the writers during that time when everything was on a standstill. Because a lot of the movies that we're watching now should have been out like a year or two ago, but COVID kicked in and stuff was put on hold. And it gave writers more chance of like, hey, I can write more stuff and, go get more work while this is happening. But it's just 1%. Like, it's not that much of a like, just give them the pay raise and that's that.
They're making less now than they were in the 90s.
See? And it's also like I'm waiting. I feel like if they are, I'm waiting for special effects to go on strike too.
Well, special effects has no work right now. My buddy went home to, he's he doesn't like live full time in Hollywood. He lives a couple
Oh,
states.
the one that travels back and forth.
Yeah, he travels
Okay.
back and forth. So he's like, I just went home and caught up on some yard work and hung out with the kids. Like, and I get it. Like, it's going to be cool for the first couple of weeks. Like, yay. But then it's like,
Shit.
I need money. Like, I got to pay bills. But they are unionized. There is a union.
Okay, good.
So you cannot work on any set in this country unless you have a union card for that.
Yeah,
And I think they're pretty well taken care of, but they are abused pretty bad.
yeah.
During COVID, a friend of mine, they told him, because he was working on 3 different shows, and they created a bubble for each show. That means only people who work on this show can come in here and whatever. He's like, but I work on 3 different shows. I'm like, well, we don't want you contracting something and then infecting 3 different bubbles and shutting down 3 projects.
Yeah.
Then they changed their mind and said, never mind. Well, they asked what he was doing. He says, well, I'm going home. It's my 2 weeks to go home. And they're like, okay, well, if you do that, you have to quarantine 10 days when you come back. So that would be the entire time. He had to quarantine both times. And he was like, great. So he didn't see his family for like 9, 10 months.
Damn.
Like, yeah, they can really, and they were especially hard on makeup artists because we are touching faces. We're touching mucous membranes and we're right up on top of you. So they were a lot harder on my industry.
No, I figured because I mean, yeah, it's like face to face and all that. No, I figured that, but it's not that much. It's like 1%. Just give it to them. That's it. A lot of shows that we come to love are at jeopardy right now. I wanted to add to that list of like The Last of Us is also on that list, and people are like obviously season 2 is in the works, but it's just like that's on hold right now.
Yeah.
And I know personally, but like a lot of things that people were looking forward to are going to be on hold. And now we're going to be stuck watching reruns like we did in COVID. Because when COVID kicked in, everything was shut down completely. And production was shut down for about, I think, like 9 months. 9 months almost, more or less. Because that's when I was still in California, and the governor just did a complete state, full statewide shutdown. And a lot of studios were getting in trouble because some people were breaking like some of the rules and regulations that they had to put in force and everything when it comes to being on set. But it's like we just got reruns after reruns after reruns. And it's just like, well, guys, I guess that's what we're going to get for quite some time is some reruns.
Check out YouTube.
Yeah, pretty much. You're going to come out. That's what I've been doing. Just YouTube everything. Just forget it. But God, no, there's a lot of actors actually supporting this. And it's just like, yeah, without writers, actors don't really have much work.
My favorite sign was from Breckin Meyer. He was in Clueless and a few other things. He's really good friends with Seth Green. Anyway, he was on the picket line and his sign said, "You don't want me to go back to acting, do you?"
No, the one that I saw recently, and I was just like trying to figure out my favorite one, but the one that I saw that was you remember the Animaniacs?
Yeah. My generation invented it.
Yeah, that's one of the best shows. One person goes, "Don't make me go to the water tower, like WB water tower, and release the Animaniacs. I will do it too." And I was like, That's a good pickup line. I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is actually really good. There's just a lot of tension right now that, hey, studios, you can't threaten writers with AI because AI is not going to work. Going back to the art
Oh,
community.
Skynet, the robot apocalypse is upon us.
Exactly. But going back to the art community with the AI issue, like, you remember that app that you were able to take a picture and you were able to kind of like filter in this nice, beautiful thing
Mhm.
through AI? A lot of that was basically proven that these AIs were taking other people's artwork and then just morphing it into whatever design you wanted. And you will see the signatures there. And it's just kind of like you're not really giving any credit. You're just using an AI to do something that someone else can do for you. And yes, there is money involved, there's commission prices and all that. And there's conventions that have a whole like no AI artists here whatsoever allowed in conventions. So it's just kind of like, yeah, going to the whole thing of like, yeah, technology is kind of growing day by day and everybody wants something quick and fast.
Mhm.
But it does, and it for me, it's just that it would always miss that human touch.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have it, it's like, why is this on? Why am I watching this? There's a lot of great shows that have great script writings that have came and gone, but it's just more along the lines of, yeah, you just give them that 1% and
Mhm.
give me my shows, please.
Yeah.
Just give me my shows. But before we end up wrapping this up, there was one more kind of headline that, and I talked with Ro from basically Scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt podcast.
Yeah. So we were talking about live action films of Disney and how like a lot of movies for Disney is becoming less lackluster. They're kind of getting repetitive and they're kind of feeling like if you have the material, you'll make the money. That's it. People will come. I bought my ticket for Little Mermaid because I grew up with The Little Mermaid as a kid and it was one of my favorite films.
Mhm.
Recently, I would say maybe about a month ago, Dwayne Johnson came out saying that he is planning to fund a 2016 adaptation of Moana. And him, as well as the voice actors for Moana herself, were going to reprise their roles.
Mhm.
So Disney basically cut ties with Dwayne after apparently kidnapping charges surfaced. Well, not charges yet. It's a how what was the word? I had it on the tip of my tongue. Assumed kidnapping. Like it was something he was planning to do. There are stories going saying that he was going to kidnap a WWE wrestler's wife and children. So now Disney is apparently just cutting ties with him in the end with a lawsuit of $3 billion lawsuit. And right now he has projects with Disney, not just the Moana, but he also has the
Jungle
Jungle Cruise
Cruise.
2. Yeah, the second one. And apparently he was also asked if he wanted to be in Pirates of the Caribbean, the kind of like the reboots.
Mhm.
So it was just more along the lines of what's it called? It's more along the lines of, is this going to be the end? Because I know that lately he did Black Adam, and there was a lot of issues with that itself. Like they
I
hyped
kind
it
of feel
up.
sorry for him with that because he fought for 15 years to get that movie made, and when it came out, it was kind of like, oh, that was okay. Like it wasn't that great. I feel bad for him. Like all that money and effort and time and passion, and it just kind of came out meh.
Backfired.
Yeah.
Oh, since I mentioned him, go away. There you go. Because I like
Hey,
popped in. I was like, oh, speaking of him, yeah, there's
make
yeah,
fun of
I
both
can
of
have.
us tonight.
But no, like I when I saw that, I was confused. So I'm thinking like, is Disney really going to cut ties with him because he's bringing in a project of basically doing Moana as a live action film, and they're most likely. Oh, my ears were ringing.
They
It's like, oh wait, I haven't played this. So wait, since I loved having him on. So I'm gonna play this for you real quick because I was supposed to play this when Danny walked in, and I was just like, nah, forget it. But hold on.
Hello there.
Um, yeah, I feel like Disney, if they do cut ties, is a big mistake. Is another mistake on their part because not only are they going to lose him and his funding of the movie for Moana, but it's also another mistake they made with Johnny Depp of getting rid of him after the whole case of with AH.
Mhm.
And I know like they're trying to get him back to come back as Captain Jack after everything that had happened for quite some. They've been trying to for a while now,
Yeah, he won't do it.
but no, he's like, yeah, you can give me whatever amount of money you want to give me, but I am not coming back to work with you guys. And that kind of goes back to what you said of like, it's very hard to work with Disney, Marvel without getting like blacklisted, basically
Yeah,
being going through scare tactics and everything. And it's just like,
they're
that's
referred
a
to.
side of Disney that most people don't want to see about them. And it's
A
just like, that's
friend of
the
mine,
reality of Disney.
a friend of mine who passed away a couple of years ago. We grew up in Shriners Hospital together.
Mhm.
She had something called osteoimperfecta, where she brittle bone disease. Her bones broke very easily, and she was very tiny. Um, her legs were, you know, not great. And she was just a massive, massive, massive Disney stan. She just loved it. Her husband, and daughter ended up moving to Orlando, like in Disney's backyard. I've been there.
Mhm.
They were in Disney's backyard, and she just wanted to work there because she loved Disney.
Mhm.
Well, under the parks, they have a tunnel system so that the actors and everyone can get around.
Yeah.
And like I said, my friend had a little trouble getting around from time to time. It could be very painful for her to walk. And they forced her to walk all these different locations. They wouldn't give her like a scooter or whatever, or give her breaks. They made her walk, and she ended up quitting.
Huh. Shit.
It's a
But
storm here.
Roja, did you guys hear the fake
Yes, Shamook. Yep,
Shamu?
his name is Shamook, and he just quit. He just quit Disney.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like today.
Huh. Did not know that. Did not know that.
The
No,
the
I know about the tunnels though. They have it in California as well. It's kind of their way, like you said, it's for the actors and the crew to kind of get around. And it's also for security to get to like different locations quicker
Yeah.
versus being on top and having to like run to whatever land or there's an issue at.
Mhm.
But
But they call, the people that work for, if you hear anyone say "the mouse," I've watched a couple interviews with some big actors, and they said "the mouse," and I was like, "Oh, they know."
yeah.
But the secret, not so secret nickname that they all great. The, the secret nickname that they all call the mouse is Mauschwitz.
Mashquitch.
Mauschwitz,
Yeah.
like Auschwitz.
Yeah, I get it.
Auschwitz.
No, I just say the mouse. I was like, I ain't gonna work for the mouse. Like there was a point in my life that I wanted to work for the mouse. Like I really did. 'Cause like I said, I'm a big Disney fan. I love Disney, but all the stories that I saw on YouTube, this is like way before TikTok. People will put like former cast members will post up stories that about him on YouTube, and I remember watching a couple, and I'm just like, it's not worth working for the mouse. It
Gina
really
Carano's
isn't.
not lying. That woman is not lying. The way they treated her was absolutely shameful.
Mm-mm.
Um, I'm working on getting her on the show.
Oh,
I gotta check back in, I think in September. She's filming right now. I don't know what she's filming, but she's filming something.
ooh, okay.
So,
Mm. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Because I have like a couple sections of my streams I'm gonna be doing, and one of it was gonna be the tragic side of Disney, and just like shit.
I'm supposed to reach back out to Katie Sackhoff
Hmm.
in July.
Hmm.
She said she was interested, but she was busy until July. Um, so I was like having this conversation with myself, like, should you maybe not talk about Disney for the next couple of months? Then I'm like, I ain't changing who I am. Like that was an argument with myself.
Dang. Yeah, no, I have one friend that used to work for Disney as security, and I went to culinary school with them.
Mhm.
But I wanted to see if I had to get in contact with him to see if he's even interested in jumping on that topic that I'm going to be talking about with Disney. But yeah, no, yeah, anytime that something happens, Disney just likes to just cut the axe really quickly. And it's just like, I understand Disney's like a family friendly organization, and they're very strict on their rules and what you can and what you can't do. And there's like some actors like Gabriel Iglesias, which is Fluffy. He
Mhm.
was supposed to have a show on Disney, but they couldn't do it because of the fact that his friend Martin is kind of like, out there a little, not necessarily out there. He's kind of inappropriate in a sense. He talks about hookers, he talks about drugs, he's an alcoholic and everything. And so Disney's like, yeah, we can have you, but we can't have your friend Martin part of the show. I'm sorry. So it's just like, well, if I can't be part, if I can't have my theme in my show, then you can't have me. I'm sorry. I mean, they had Gabriel and other stuff. They had him in Coco as one of the guards when you go to when Miguel goes to the land of the dead. That's it. But other than that, it's just like, yeah, you really can't work without Disney or work with Disney
Mm-mm.
and not expect something out of it, something out of it,
You've
and
gotta be kind of a robot.
pretty much. And that's the messed up part because actors, I'm not sorry to say this, but they are just like everyone else. They make mistakes all the time. And it's like some own up to it, others don't. But it's like a mistake is always going to be made
Yep,
with actors.
yep.
So, yeah. All right. So I'm going to wrap it up because I'm starting to get a headache. And I think it's because I'm hungry.
I'm sitting here thinking like, "Oh, my head hurts. Why?"
But yes, I want to say thank you once again to my lovely, gorgeous work wife, Danny, for coming on again or coming onto my show. It's like I said, it's been a while. I don't want you to be a stranger. I want you to come on to my show more often. Got to work that schedule out a little bit more. But guys, you can follow her down below on all her socials. She's quite prominent in a lot of them, especially Twitter. And she has all the knowledge of comic book related breakdowns, but like she said, it's on hiatus at the moment. But all her breakdown videos is still on her channel. So if there is a topic you want to see, she has it on there. If there's a topic you don't see, she has a Patreon as well. All her information is down below, but I will add her Patreon when I go through like the production section of this
All you
again.
gotta do is type in, comics and cosmetics when you
Oh,
go to Patreon.
there
It's
you go.
patreon.com/comics and cosmetics.
Work wife, kiss, kiss, like work wife, kiss, kiss. But yes, it was awesome to have you on here
Thank you
again.
for having me. I miss you.
I miss you too. Like I said, I've been really busy. Last
Well,
week for
I'm
me
going
was
to take next weekend off, um, so that whole week I'll just be scheduling my next round of lives, so I'll be in touch.
okay. I mean, I have next week. I'm not looking at my thing real quick. I mentioned Tragic Kingdom, like I said, is a Disney thing. You're more than welcome to join me on that one. It's the dark side. I'll tell you more behind the scenes after we sign off and everything. Um, Also, real quick, guys, follow me as well on Twitter, Snapchat. I don't have Snapchat. What I'm talking about TikTok as well as Twitter. I am going to be going on a little bit more. My schedule, like my personal schedule, is balanced out a little bit, so I'll be going on more and more. I will be posting up to later on tonight, if not tomorrow morning, this month's show lineup. So be on the lookout for that. I always say this to everyone. It's an open invitation. If you are interested in a topic that I put out there, let me know. Message me on any of these. You can really catch me on Instagram. But I will catch you guys next time. What was it like tomorrow? I forgot. Oh yeah. I'm still debating, but this Thursday is going to be show cancellations, shows that we loved. Why were they canceled? I am still in the talks with one person right now. So that will be next. This will actually be this Thursday. So anyway, I will catch you guys next time in my next live. That should be Thursday. Same time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So everything in between. I will catch you guys next time. I love you guys and also have a great rest of your night. And also, please, please, please be kind and rewind. And I'll catch you next time.